Hey, Scott from Aristocob.com here.
And Seth.
Together, the
I'm
three
Seth,
of
guys.
us.
How you doing?
Together, the three of us, we are Markwood Men's Breakfast Club.
Seriously, you're touching me too much.
I am touching my boy right here, and it is, again, ridiculously hot in my shop. What does the app say? You know, we have this cool app that we've talked about in the past. What is this thing called?
Dark Sky.
Dark Sky. I'm so sweaty. My thumbprint is not working on this.
Your app doesn't work?
Okay, it's 87 degrees and rising. Feels like 98 degrees because there's so much humidity. So I'm really not sweating. I'm just I'm condensing humidity here.
Yeah, and it's actually not. I was outside earlier for a good bit in the direct sunlight, and that was oppressive. It was everything inside of my shirt was immediately becoming a cloud. It was terrible. So this actually isn't as bad as it was earlier today. There's a little bit of a cross breeze, but
all right, I'll stop complaining.
Enough complaining about the weather. What are we smoking today?
Well,
let's smoke something.
We're going to smoke some old school 1Q.
No!
And the reason why we're going to do this is I got to show you something. Brother Boontar. If you don't subscribe to Boontar Jones, Boontar's channel, we'll link it down below. Boontar is a special kind of special. He's a great guy. He's one of those people that is so conscientious. He listens to you when you talk, he hears you when you talk, and he remembers stuff. And he's the kind of guy, his love language is obviously people remembering him.
Yeah, most of us would have to use an app for that.
Oh, without a doubt.
Maybe that's a secret.
So Boontar heard me mention that I had lost my pipe bag, and one of the things I most dearly prized in that was my Zeppelin pipe. It's a cigar pipe that dates back, who knows how long. They were made over 100 years ago, but they were made up through the 1930s, I believe. And at the Columbus Pipe Show, he goes, "I got something for you." And he gave me this. Actually, no. Did he give it to me there? No, I think he gave this to me when we got together down in Charlotte a week later. Doesn't matter. I haven't smoked it yet. And I'm going to load this with some 1Q. And we were talking about the Morgan Cobb cigar, and he was curious if I had had success with this.
Right.
And I said, yeah, I think mostly because I had gotten used to the way you load and smoke the Zeppelin pipe. And so I guess he had smoked this a couple times and maybe got frustrated with it.
So for those that don't know how one loads and smokes a Zeppelin, how do you do that?
Well,
because already I notice it's different than
it's way different.
Pipe cigar.
It's way different. And this one's different than the one that I owned in the past. The one that I had before had a cap on it that had multiple little points on it. It looked almost like a drain in a shower. This one has a single loading and lighting and draft hole. Uh-huh. It also has an interesting little thing here.
So it actually splits apart in half along what would be the...
Yeah. It unscrews in half.
Right. So
the front half, the combustion chamber, is separated from the rest of the briar pipe with this little plastic or little metal part, and I don't even know what you'd call that. It's a separator, an aerator, but it's going to allow the smoke to pass through. Let the smoke pass through without allowing the tobacco to come through. And I may have that a little bit tight. No, that should be okay. But what you want with both this and the briar cigar and the cigar Cobb cigar is you want to fill it loosely. The Cobb cigar is easier to tamp. You can get in there very easily with your Aristocob tamper, not a problem. This one, once it's loaded, there's no real tamping. I might be able to get it, this end in,
right?
But that's not much of a tamper.
So you're actually tamping it from the middle. It's hard. The orientation of that's hard.
Still burning from here. So
right.
if there's any separation between the embers and the unsmoked tobacco, you're going to want to tamp it this way.
So you're almost tamping when you're loading it. You're almost loading it from the bottom.
Yes.
To light it from the top.
Yes.
And you're tamping it from the bottom. So once
there's no real tamping.
There is no real tamping. You can't go back. That's interesting. Pulls that flame in there though.
So we'll see how it goes. Anyway, Boontar, thank you so much. I really appreciate your thoughtfulness. Again, this is something that he hadn't had success with, and cared enough not only about me as a friend, but the fact that he had something that he wanted to see someone enjoying. Otherwise, it was sitting on a shelf collecting dust.
Yeah.
Really thoughtful. I, on the other hand, have stuff that collects dust.
I saw him advertising. This is not time appropriate, but I saw him advertising that you're going to be at Strauss tomorrow. Is that true, or was that something else?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay.
What I do know what he was announcing this week, he and Skipsy did a video talking about them going to Nashville for a meetup. The Nashville Pipe Show was scheduled for this coming week, and a weekend, and though it was canceled due to lack of participation by people in the pipe industry, the community said, "Dang it, we're going anyway."
Awesome.
So,
awesome.
They posted a great video that included input from a bunch of people.
Oh,
no.
I was tagged in this. This is
when
odd.
was that picture posted?
But I'm not tagged. So this is showing on Instagram that Boontar took a picture of me 3 hours ago. Is what it's showing, and I am in fact in this picture in the background that has been doctored. It says, "Come by Strauss Tobacconist in Florence, Kentucky tomorrow at 11 a.m. Hang out with the Cincinnati Pipe Society and meet Aristocob. While you're there, pick up some Wenceslas limited Christmas tobacco that just came out today." The Aristocobs were my favorite band growing up, and then it was hashtag Aristocob approved. All right, so I saw this today. I have been tagged in it today.
Okay.
Posted November 2013. So I don't know why it was tagged in it today.
No, not going to be there.
So I just assumed, oh, you must be going on a trip that I didn't know about, which is fine. You know,
not this week.
I didn't even think much of it, except
week.
that my child is going to be here in a few days. Actually, at the time of posting, my baby girl will be here tomorrow. So I'm excited.
Thursday the 22nd.
Yep, September 22nd. So, okay. Well, glad to clear that up.
So
Weird things are afoot.
Something else we want to talk about today. We mentioned in a recent video that I purchased from Scam School this transparent lock padlock that's supposed to help you learn how to pick locks.
Very excited about it. I very nearly stole it.
Okay. I then mentioned in the description of that video that I found one just like it. I mean, dead ringer, has to be the same thing, on Amazon for less than half the price. So we got that in. I gave it to Boy. First thing he notices is it's missing parts. It is the exact same kit, but it's missing the pick.
So the kits are the exact same.
Exactly the same. It's missing the pick, but more importantly, it's missing the thing that holds the cylinder in. So it is non-functional. So I contacted the people on Amazon about it and said, "Hey, it's defective. What would you like to do? We'll send you a replacement one out right away." So they did. They sent a replacement one out, and it's missing the pick. So at least it has the part that Seth needs to put the thing together. But super frustrating. And yeah, I saved money, but
it has the tension. I mean, it has a tension wrench. I already have a set of picks. In fact, I have 2 sets of picks. I told you a couple videos ago when we talked about this that my recommendation is to part your picks out. So I have in this little toolkit. I've got my picks elsewhere, actually, but I've got bump keys. I've got other picking tools, a master lock that I play around with, and then I've got my other picks elsewhere. But then this is also a full kit that I keep with me all the time. I put the lock together last night, so you can see it's fully assembled. Every single piece in here was separate.
I can't see that.
Can you see that?
There you go. Very cool.
There's not much to see
because it is transparent.
It is transparent. So the piece that this one was missing, I probably could have fabricated it out of something. It's a little pin here, which is used actually to keep the locking mechanism from coming all the way out. So it comes with a full set of pins and 2 extras, set of springs and 2 extras. So you're not getting a bunch of extra parts with this, but if you lose one, that's okay. And it has instructions on how to assemble it. Putting it together was really fascinating for me. There are parts of the lock that I absolutely understood before assembling this. As far as picking the just the
half of the pin that goes in this way and half over here with the spring.
Right, the pin, the binding pin. This is the Bible, all that stuff. I've got a lot of experience with, due in large part to watching Bosnian Bill's videos. And if you have any interest in picking, this is a pretty good place to start as far as a lock. There is a starter lock that has a bunch of different pieces that are easier to exchange and swap out that we can make sure to link in the description. But I'd recommend going to lock-lab.com. Bosnian Bill, again, he's the guy that has about 950 almost now videos of him picking different locks. So good. And he reviews lock picks. He talks. He has some locks that you would never believe.
Did you see the video this week where somebody sent him a challenge lock to pick?
The one that he raked?
The one that he raked.
Yeah. So they sent him what should have been a very, very complicated lock, and he was able to get into it with a raking method.
First he picked it using the traditional method, and
which took about 3 hours.
And even talked about how challenging that was.
Right.
And then he said, just for fun, let's try using the rake.
Right.
And so he's got it right open.
So yeah, if you're not familiar with lock picking, you can pin pick, where you would use something similar to this, which has a peak. Yeah, I hate doing that. It's got a peak, and you would actually inside of the lock. Very first thing you have to do is you put tension on the lock, and what that does is that makes, as you lift the pins, it makes them stay in place where they're supposed to. Now, a pin is 2 separate pins, and in between them is what's called the shear line. So when you're picking, you're putting a little bit of tension on the what is this called?
Cylinder.
Yeah, on the cylinder, and that little bit of tension, as you lift the pin, it will keep the
top half of the pin,
top pin, right, in place, and will create a shear line, which is exactly what happens when you insert your key. So all of these ridges and all of these valleys match up with the size of the pins in your lock, so that as you put the key in, everything lines up.
Okay, every pin is actually 2 pins. So if your lock is a 6-pin lock, there's actually 12 pins. Each of those pins is sheared at some point, and the height of your key will determine where that split lines up. When they're all lined up perfectly, the cylinder can rotate and the lock can do its thing.
So, I don't know how well this is going to show up, but in here are the pins, and you can see they're all different sizes right now. When I insert the key, it's lifting them up, and now that the key's inserted, they're all the same height, and that allows me to spin the cylinder.
The shear line should be the same height, right? The top of the pin.
Well, the top on this one, the top pins are actually all the same as well. So once the key's inserted, the key makes up the difference between the bottom pin and the shear line. So anyway, the 2 methods of picking, the more advanced is pin picking, where you actually put tension on the cylinder, and you use your pick to lift each individual pin. Raking is easier, and it's where you use a
wavy pick.
That is kind of wavy, has a couple of ridges. You put a little bit of tension on it, and you kind of just go to town. In out. And what you're doing is you're hoping that by chance, with the right amount of tension, you're going to get the lock unpicked.
What is that desktop doohickey that you grab a ball and you let it go, and then the ball on the other end jumps away?
The Newtonian pendulum? What is that?
I forget what that thing's called.
Yeah.
what's happening
Newton's
here when you're
cradle.
raking is you're hitting the bottom half of the pin and causing the top half to jump. And hopefully, if you're putting just the right amount of tension, it won't be able to come back down.
Right.
Your cylinder will begin to move, and the spot in the cylinder where that pin normally resides, it can't get into.
Yep.
So bumping is something that is scary easy. When you look at people using, there's battery-operated tools now. There's a raking gun that you pull a trigger, and it does it automatically for you.
So, the Lock Lab videos really will walk through the steps. There are, like I said, really, really great resources on there that teach you how to do all of this. You know, it's one of those things that is both very, very easy and very difficult. It's easy to you know, maybe pick a master lock or open the door to your apartment, and it can be really, really challenging and really hard.
Not unlike smoking a Zeppelin pipe.
That's right. That's right. So, all in all, it ended up being a really good kit. It's fun to put it together. Like I said, the process of putting it together, I learned an awful lot about how it works, especially how inside here, how that process works, and how the cylinder connects to the actual locking mechanism. That was fascinating to see that. So for $10, it's totally worth it. It's fun, something fun to do while you're sitting around watching TV. It's not really $10 because you have to buy the picks.
Now, quick bit of advice for those of you who are dealing with folks on Amazon, or really eBay, any of those kind of places where they have a public rating system. If there's a problem and you want the seller to work with you, don't go in and give them 1 star and then ask for assistance. Give them a chance to make it right. This seller tried to make it right. I'm guessing that their packer in China or wherever they're sourcing this is the one that is screwed up here. They quickly turned around and sent me another one. Their fail was they didn't check it before they sent it. You know, one of the things that we teach in customer service where I work is you want to make it right fast, but fast isn't good if fast isn't right. So making it right is more important than fixing it fast.
That's true. Right inside of their card on the back of this frontage, it says not totally satisfied. 1, 2, and 3 star ratings are considered unsatisfactory. If you're not completely happy, please contact us before leaving negative feedback. We will do whatever it takes to make sure you become a raving fan of doing business with us.
Yep.
So I mean, to their credit, they did that, tried that.
So I'm gonna let them know that what we received still isn't right. That we're okay with it. They don't need to do any more, but just so they can check their inventory and not mess with anybody else. The price I paid for the one was like half the price of what I paid from Scam School.
You can get them for $10.
Yeah, just double check when you receive it to make sure all the components are there. All right, let's wrap this up, boy.
Okay.
Oh, as far as the Zeppelin pipe, the one thing I remember about this is there's no shame in relighting it. But I'm going to have to maybe cut the tip off of one of my tampers because I need the tamp. I can tell that there are embers in there. It's still warm, but those embers aren't getting to where the unsmoked tobacco is.
Really?
So
Not getting it
yeah, but that's okay.
packed right?
No, it's not the packing. It's just the way pipes smoke. I need to just be able to tamp this.
Yeah.
Thanks again, Boontar. I really, really appreciate this, and I will cherish it, and I will smoke it. So,
Sounds great.
all right, guys, make it a great week. We'll talk to you again
Thanks for watching.
next week.
Bye.